Hello. Today we're going to start our process of writing our first essay. Now, the steps we're going to talk about today can be applied to any prompt, even though we're going to practice it with one prompt. So you can come back and visit this video when you're doing any essay. It doesn't have to just be this one. So the first thing we want to do, if we haven't already, we're going to download and save this file so that way we can use it to create our essay. Make sure you enable editing and you save it according to the guidelines that are listed in Canvas. So right now it says to do your first initial, last name, and underscore, so please make sure you save your file accordingly. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start off by attacking our prompt. So we're going to read our prompt a few times and to make sure that we understand what it's asking. So the prompt says, there's a common saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Think of something that has an unattractive appearance but that has special meaning to someone for other reasons. It might be an old car, a well-used toy, a faded photograph, or something else. Identify the object and explain why it has special meaning. Okay, so let's go through each individual line and identify whether or not it is a command or a question. There's a common saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Is that telling me to do something in my writing? No, so I'm not going to highlight it. Think of something that has an unattractive appearance but has special meaning to someone for other reasons. Well, that's telling me to do something. I'm going to highlight that. It might be an old car, a well-used toy, a faded photograph, or something else. Those are just examples, not telling me to do anything. Identify the object and explain why it has special meaning. This is what I'm writing about, so I'm going to highlight it. Notice that the words identify, explain, think, these are all directives. These words are telling us to do something. So now let's clarify what we're going to write. So let's clarify what our purpose for writing is. Why are we writing this? With our 8th grade writings, we're either going to be writing to persuade or to inform. So that's persuasive writing or expository writing. So when we look at our prompt, we want to look for keywords and phrases that could help us identify that. Look at the words that I just italicized. Think, identify, explain. That word explain is a big helpful keyword. This directive tells us that we're trying to inform our reader why it's important. So our purpose is to inform. Next, we have our audience. Who is the target audience for this? Since it doesn't tell us anything specific, we're going to go with our teacher. So that way we remember that it needs to stay formal. And then finally, our topic. What does the prompt want us to write about? The prompt wants us to write about an unattractive object and I got that from unattractive here, an object here. So the object referencing something that has an unattractive appearance and explain why it's special. So it's an unattractive object that is special. Fantastic. Now that I know what I'm going to write about, I need to brainstorm my ideas. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with 2 things that are pretty ugly but have special meaning. So my first one, I'm going to put my husband's truck. Now, it's not special to me, but my husband's favorite thing in the whole world. And even though it's ugly, it's still really special to him. My second reason, or my second object I'm going to try to brainstorm for is going to be an ivory necklace that I have. For each of those reasons, I want to try to think of as many reasons as possible why they are important. So for my husband, he got it from his grandfather. First car. We learned to drive in it. Learned to fix cars with it. And for my ivory necklace, so why is that special to me? So my dad gave it to my mom, who gave it to me. Ivory is rare. My dad got it on deployment. So I was able to come up with these ideas pretty quickly because I've been teaching with it, right? But if I'm sitting down to brainstorm for the very first time, this might take me a little bit of extra time. So really take the time to think about the ideas you're writing down. After you have your ideas, you're then going to start the process of narrowing it down. So my husband's truck is going to be the one I'm going to go with because I feel like I can explain that the best. And when I look at my 4 reasons, I want to narrow them down to the 2 that I feel I could explain the best, strongest. I can do a good job explaining how being a gift from his grandfather makes it so special. I can tell a story and facts and things, all that kind of stuff about it. Learning how to fix cars and drive with it are kind of common things people learn to do with their first car, so I could kind of wrap all 3 of those together. So his first car is going to be my second reason. So let me write out what I've narrowed down my topic to. So the object I picked is an unattractive object that is special is my husband's. So notice how when I'm stating what object I picked, I'm not just writing my husband's truck again. I'm using that language from the prompt, the one we identified in our topic. I'm using that as a sentence starter. And then my first reason, I'm going to turn that into an independent clause. So instead of saying a gift from his grandfather, I'm going to say it was a gift from his grandfather. And for my second reason, I'm going to put it was his first car. So now that I have narrowed down my reasons and finalized what my different pieces are, I'm ready to make my thesis statement. So remember, my thesis statement is my 1 sentence answer to the prompt. It's concise, it's clear and to the point, it states my main idea and my 2 supporting details. And you've already started the process of making that. This sentence that you started writing right here is your main idea. These are your 2 supporting details. So I'm going to come down here and craft my thesis statement. An unattractive object that is special is my husband's truck because, so now I'm going to come to the end of that sentence, and my 2 reasons why I'm going to link with the word because. Because it was a gift from his grandfather. And since I have another independent clause, I'm going to do a comma and a fanboy, and it was his first car. And just like that, I've now created my thesis statement. So now I'm going to make my topic sentences. So my first topic sentence is going to be about my first reason. My second topic sentence is going to be about my second reason. So I want to start off with a transition word or phrase that shows I'm giving my first reason. First of all, The unattractive truck is important because it was a gift from his grandfather. So notice, instead of just writing it was a gift from his grandfather, I'm clarifying what it is. What is it? An unattractive truck that is important. For my second topic sentence, I'm going to use the transition word or phrase in addition. This is because I'm adding on another reason. So I'm going to say, in addition, my husband's unattractive truck is important because it was his first car. Perfect. So now I'm ready to move on to my evidence and my commentary. So let's look at some notes about evidence and commentary. And all the notes for every step of the process can be found in Canvas in these module pages that say content planning. So and now that we've made our topic sentences, we're going to follow the AEC paragraph structure to come up with body paragraphs. Your A is your assertion. So you already have your assertion for each paragraph done. We're going to work on the E and the C for each one. Okay? So let's just focus on our first body paragraph. We need to start by coming up with evidence. To make evidence, we can use the FRIDA method. FRIDA stands for fact, reason, example, detail, and anecdote. So if I'm writing about my husband's truck, I can come up with one of these, each of these for that topic. So it was a gift from his grandfather. I'm going to come up with a fact. Many people receive gifts from grandparents, and for many of them it becomes a treasured item. I can come up with a reason. This is because grandparents play a vital role in many people's lives, and people know that their time with their grandparents is short. I can come up with an example. For example, my husband's grandfather was his biggest role model in life. He taught him valuable life lessons like working on cars and woodworking. Provide some details. However, he was only alive until my husband was 16 years old. Their time together was cut short. And then I can wrap up my evidence with an anecdote. An anecdote is a story, a personal story. Since his grandfather passed away while he was still young, my husband holds all the things he was passed down dear to him. When he was gifted his grandfather's truck, the same truck he was taught how to drive in, he knew the sentimental value of the car would be way more important than the actual retail value of the truck. So here, I used FRIDA to come up with a bunch of evidence. Sometimes, like I did here, you can use all 5 parts of FRIDA. Sometimes it may make more sense to only use 3 or 4 parts and not all 5. But the strongest evidence comes when we use a combination of things. So go ahead and pause your video, and I want you to come up with your evidence using FRIDA for your first topic sentence. Welcome back. Now we're ready to do our commentary for that paragraph. Let's talk about what commentary is. Commentary is the C part of the AEC paragraph structure. This section is quite simple. It's where you're going to explain how the evidence that you provided supports your topic sentence. So for mine, I said, this evidence shows that the truck is critically important to my husband, despite its rusted paint, dented frame, and overall unattractive appearance. Now notice this time my commentary is very, very short. This is because I followed the FRIDA model for creating evidence, so a lot of the explanation is already built into that. However, sometimes your commentary may be shorter your commentary may be longer if your evidence is shorter, like for example when you use text evidence. So go ahead and take a moment to pause and write your commentary. now that you've seen me create a paragraph and you've created one, go ahead and repeat the process for your second body paragraph. So this video will end here with showing you how to get through the whole first half of the planning process. Please watch the second video where I will talk about how to plan out your conclusion, your introduction, and then go through the drafting, revising, and editing process.